second and most likely final tethered test flight for the balloon. And today we're going to be testing and trying out the final flight configuration as well as the modifications we made from the first version. And so we replaced the big gray plastic box with a nylon strap harness, which saved over a pound of weight. So that was great. We're also trying it out with the valve attached, and so hopefully this vents fast enough for our liking, this valve here. We changed the position of the camera mount because it needed to move out of the way to accommodate the strap. And we also got a much bigger and nicer camera, as you can see here. It's already recording. And finally, we added a start and stop button, this green button here, for the Arduino. And so actually I'm gonna plug in the Arduino now, and you'll see it can begin. So it clicks on a few times, just to signify that it's starting. All right, and then once this is green, you can push it down, and that signifies that it's now recording data and it's ready to go.
Camera's on. Nice.
After the very lucky success of our unexpected test flight, we realized that there were still several improvements that could be made to the balloon's design before it was ready for something longer range. And so the first and the primary change that we've made is that we've modified the software that our flight computer runs so that now it saves the data from the altimeter every 10 minutes rather than at the end of the flight as it did before. And so in the case of the power becoming disconnected, like it did for this flight after the balloon landed, the balloon will no longer lose all of the altimetry data that we had, and we'll hopefully be able to get a much more accurate picture of the flight now. In addition, our camera battery ran out about 10 minutes after it was thrown in the police car, as you saw in the footage. And so to fix this, we've got this rechargeable USB battery pack. It's 10,000 milliamp hours, and this will hopefully power this little camera here for double or even triple the time that it would have had before. In addition, we realized that the balloon must look quite strange and potentially dangerous to people who just see it falling out of the sky. And so we've made this little sign here that's going to be attached to the balloon's tether. And all the sign is telling you is that it's a harmless science experiment and please don't mess with it in any way. And we recommend that you call our number that's listed on the sign, and we'll give you a monetary reward for telling us where it is so we can recover it. In addition, we realized that visibility might have been a problem had it not been in the police impound. And so we painted it a bright neon pink here so that we'll be able to see it in much darker environments like among trees or something like that. And finally, we realized just how lucky we were with the way the flight played out, because once it was recovered by the police, they put it in their impound, but it was face upwards, so the GPS tracker was able to acquire a signal. However, if it had been sideways or upside down, then we would never have gotten that signal and we would have completely lost the balloon. So for future flights, we have here this cell-based tracker. And so it's still a GPS tracker, but it communicates through cell towers, and so it doesn't matter what orientation the balloon lands in, this will still be able to get a signal as long as it's within range. And this perfectly complements the main GPS tracker because this communicates via communication satellites, and so this has a much wider range over the whole world, but it needs to be facing skyward the entire time. So other than that, the interior of the balloon payload is almost completely the same. So we still have the Arduino flight computer here. We have the altimeter on the outside. We have this relay that we use to actuate the valve. And we have this button that's used to start and stop the program that runs on this Arduino. And so now that we've made all these changes, we're confident that the balloon is ready for something much longer range. And so we've come out here to Omaha, Nebraska, because the surrounding lands are very, very flat and it should be very easy to recover. And tomorrow, we're ready to make our first long-range flight.